Hello lovelies, it's Nick here and I help women ease into menopause without the weight gain. Now today I want to talk about, do we count calories or not? I know that the word calories can send, shivers up and down your spine. I know that it can just be just even the word can be so triggering, and we have memories of diets and deprivation and it can just really set us off on a path that we don't want to go down again. But what's the alternative? Because what we're doing isn't working. The studies show that over 80% of women gain weight during menopause. And even prior to that, 70% of women are overweight or obese. So whatever we're doing isn't working. Now, over the last couple of years, there's been this concept that there are some diets out there where you can lose weight, but you don't have to count calories. And that's kind of, in the high fat sort of keto area that this has evolved. But I want to tell you that that's a myth. Seriously, if you eat more calories than your body needs, you will gain weight. Hence why there are so many people who have failed attempts with those types of diets. Now, what do? We need to find some kind of middle ground. And what I'm suggesting is that we don't count calories, but we know where they're coming from. This is certainly my philosophy and the philosophy that I help my clients achieve. Now, what we can do then is that we can tweak the recipes and the meals that we're already making, which means that we don't have to sacrifice flavor or volume, and it's a win-win. But we have to know where they're coming from to be able to tweak them. Now, I'm just checking my notes because this is a big one here today. So what does that look like in practice? And so what that looks like is moving away from the calorie-rich foods and embracing the foods that aren't so calorie-rich. And I think this is kind of obvious. We know the obvious ones like cakes and biscuits and, foods where we can see the oil dripping out of them. But where it trips us up is the foods that are healthy. And I think the most obvious one that I see is healthy oil. For example, olive oil. We know that olive oil is a healthy oil. And what that can make us think is because it's healthy, it's a free-for-all. Oh, well, it's healthy as we splush it over our salad or glug it into our pan before we cook the onions. But liquid oil is the most calorie-dense food on the planet. And 1 tablespoon of oil, any oil, is 120 calories. Now, when we're looking at olive oil, that's actually the equivalent of 20 to 40 olives, depending on the size of the olives. I mean, that's huge. Now, 120 calories is the same as a large apple, a small banana, 2.5 oranges, or an overflowing cup of blueberries. And those whole olives and all of that fruit contain the fiber as well, which, as you know, is a win-win to feed our good gut bacteria. So what about if we started to look at the foods that had more fiber? And when we have a look at the foods that have more fiber, they are actually all of the foods that are the lowest calorie density foods. So fruit, vegetables, whole grains, and beans and lentils are the lowest calorie density foods on the planet. They are all lower in calories than lean meat, eggs, dairy, fish, cheese, bread. And way up the top is your liquid oil. So what does this look like in practice? What can we do in practice? What it could look like is, yes, definitely using less liquid oil, but you could also do things like grab your recipe and instead of using all of the meat, you could use half of the meat and replace that with some beans or lentils. So if you're making a spaghetti bolognese, you could add a can of lentils to that. Making a chicken casserole, you could use less chicken and add a can of chickpeas. So that way you're reducing some of those high calorie density foods, adding some low calorie density foods, but at the same time, you're also increasing your nutrition because you're adding a whole food that's got some fiber that's going to feed your good gut bacteria. So it's win-win. So let's check my notes here. So honestly, just by knowing this and being able to make some simple swaps, you will be able to reduce the amount of calories that you're eating without counting calories, get healthier in the process, and release some weight. Win-win as far as I'm concerned. I think everyone must be thinking this is a win-win, Nick. So if you're thinking this sounds great, Nick, but I need some help doing that, then I really recommend that you grab my mini menopause assessment. And that is a 30-minute complimentary session where you fill out an intake form and you get my eyes on what you're currently eating, the meals, and what I can do is I can help you look at some strategies where you can start making those simple swaps and move you in the direction of being able to nourish your body in this season of life, support your menopause hormones in this season, and also help you release weight. So I'll put the link somewhere around here. If you have any questions, pop them below, and I hope you have a great day.